We live. We live. It's the Vupointz.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We here.
Back another thing.
It's the Vupointz. It's the weekly session.
Let me turn up my volume a little bit. How am I sounding? How my mic sound?
You sound good. You sound good. Brooklyn, we can't hear you. Take yourself off mute. Can't hear you, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear you. It's the Vupointz. It's the Vupointz. It's the Vupointz. I want to welcome everybody to the show. We are here once again, and you know what we say? We say knowledge is power.
Power.
Big up everybody that's tuning in on YouTube. Big up everybody that's tuning in on Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. It's the weekly session. We are here. Do remember to subscribe and follow at YouTube at Vupointz on all channels. My name is Ja Wiggs, and I'm here with my co-host
Brooklyn, honey. Yes. And
I go by the name of Jada, man. You don't know.
What's up, Jada? What's up, Jada?
I'm here, man. I'm here. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
What's up, Brooklyn? You good?
yes, I am.
I like the hat. I like the hat. I like the earrings. I like the earrings. I like the
Thank
earrings.
you. I told you guys I'm like a walking billboard, baby.
Fresh.
Okay,
Always fresh.
brands and
Always
the creative. Yes, honey.
Yeah.
Jada was good.
Yeah,
Yes.
honey.
Yes,
Yo.
honey, with your
Is them
bald
some new
shine head.
glasses?
Yes,
Them
you look
some
like
new
him.
glasses.
Him look like him groom up himself today.
Yeah,
Look
the boy
proper.
fix up. The boy fix up.
They
The
want to
boy
fix up
fix
only for the
up.
real estate, only for those type of the real estate people. Them
Yeah,
only.
The
yeah.
boy fix
So,
up. The
Them
boy
get the
fix up.
glasses. They got the glasses.
We got something serious. We got wanna where we're going today is my lane right now. You know what I mean? So I just had to put on the spectacles and say, yeah, so I can, you know what I mean? Do my
Just
thing
a
the way I
heads-
need to do my thing.
And just a heads up for everybody, when you guys see him remove the spectacles, that means he's about to ask a real serious question or he's about to get real serious indeed. Do it. See it there. Yes.
Yo, I want to shout out Renee's Beauty tuning in on Instagram early. I want you guys to check out her weekly podcast, Beauty and Business. I think she's shouting out entrepreneurs and ladies in the business. So check out her podcast. While you're checking out her
why
podcast,
haven't I been on your show, your podcast?
well, soon. I think she just started it, so we're gonna check that out and we're gonna support because we're supporting those who support us, right? That's what it's about. It's the Vupointz. We say knowledge is power, right? So, like I said, if you're tuning in, remember to like and subscribe and follow. Big up everybody that's tuning in on Instagram. But if you would like to get a full 100% visual layout and representation of the show, we do recommend that you watch the show on Twitch, on YouTube, or Facebook, because how the screen's laid out and all them thing there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime,
Wiggs, don't forget transition.
Yeah.
For you know what I mean? You see all that transition that screen so IG people them can see your proper. You see?
Well, that's what I'm gonna do. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to navigate the screen. I want to big up Mel Sapphire that's punching in on the Instagram as well. So let me just throw Brooklyn around there. So Brooklyn, what go on, baby?
Nothing, we just there on the little Gaza side. And I just want to say, yes, you guys are going to see a lot of like angry faces for me today because I just hate men, and that's just the way it just puts like that.
Oh, did something happen? Well, I know it's birthday week, so you can't have
next week. I'm a birthday next Tuesday, baby.
You can't have no sour face on the birthday week. Who pissed off me, baby? Yo,
you will find out in Talk the Things, baby.
Okay. Well, let me just big up Smile by Treese punching in on the IG. Let me big up Frosty Raw punching in on the IG. We got a nice show lined up today. Jada, like you said, this is your lane. This is your lane.
Yeah, baby. Yo, I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. Yo, I'm glad we got people tuning in early because you don't want to miss this one. We got some esteemed guests and they're gonna really drop it. You know what I mean? And they're from within our community, within our circles, and they're doing their thing. So those people dispel all those rumors that we're not popping and we're not doing what we're supposed to do out here. We're gonna show you different today.
We're gonna show them. I'm gonna turn my volume up, just make sure the massive can hear me on this side. As you notice, you know what I'm gonna do, Jada? When you're down there, I'm gonna sit on this side of the camera, because when I sit over here, the Instagram people can see me perfect. So Brooklyn, if you want itch up on the next side as well, then everything look like it gravy from there.
Over here?
Oh yeah, man. Because
okay,
Instagram people can see you good around there. So
yeah, fix your chair, baby.
yeah, man.
Wait, I'm short, so hold on. I literally have a pillow on my chair because I'm that short that
Yo, we're gonna get you a Vupointz pillow.
Yeah, see it there, sitting there, see it? Once again, branding all the time. Okay, drip all day. That's what I do. It's called branding. Can they see me now?
Yeah, they can see you. We can see
yes, you. They're shining bright like a diamond today. Big up myself, yes.
Frosty was watching you. When I said nothing but Frosty, I watch.
That's my boy. Shout out my boy Frosty. I love that.
Yeah.
Big up Frosty for tuning in early. Big up everybody that's tuning in early. Like Jada was saying, we got a great show lined up for you guys today. The topic is it's an interesting one. It's something that's needed for our generation. You know what I mean? I don't know what you want to talk about the topic. You want to introduce the topic, let them know early in case they
let you know early. So what we dropped out there was why you should buy houses and land instead of cars and jewelry. Why you should buy houses and land instead of cars and jewelry. You know what I mean? We threw that out there to the social media world. We threw that out to everybody. We hear about this all the time. We brought some people that's gonna help us tap into that. We know that everybody's on the wave right now. But why are they on the wave? How did they get on the wave? Is the wave lucrative? Like, does it work for everybody? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna tap into that. But I'm feeling for a little vibes right now, you know. I'm feeling for a little vibes.
Well, before we get into the vibe, I just want to big up Honey Sweet Sugar that's tuning in as well on the IG.
Honey, you hear that?
Honey Sweet Sugar. Me like that name. There. It sounds appealing.
It just sound diabetic.
Wait, so you have to take your time with that one there.
It sounds diabetic.
You know what? We're not gonna go there. So you know where we are gonna go?
And you.
Yeah. Yo, this is the man, and this is the vibe of the week. So the vibe of the week is pretty much a vibe that I've been vibing to. You know what I mean? Anything that someone may have put me on, or something that came across my wavelength. But this is the vibe of the week, and we're gonna do it a little differently moving forward, because we know we're finding out that some of YouTube and whatnot is starting to do a little, starting to mute us and whatnot. So this is probably the last time we're gonna do it like this. But this is the vibe of the week. I had to drop this one. This is Jay-Z, Nas, DJ Khaled. Sorry, not sorry. Let's go.
Cool.
He is beyond sick.
It's the vibe of the week.
Are you not hearing what the man said? Sorry. That's another B.
Listen, when we talking about vibes, Jigga.
Haters still mad for the other B.
Jigga.
That's a double B.
Jigga, Khaled.
The man said, I can't forget about the other B. Oh my God. Are you guys out of your mind?
We got to wait for Jada to click back in.
Yo, their flows are so sick. I thank God every day. I grew up in Brooklyn. I was able to be a part of that, you
grew up in Brooklyn? You grew up in Brooklyn?
Yeah. I didn't get the name Brooklyn just to say I wanted to have my name Brooklyn.
Oh, so you know about the Jigga.
I know about the new lots. I know about the new lots. I have family that lives in Marcy Projects. I have family that lives at Church and Flatbush. I have family that lives down in Linden, Queens, Long Island. Like, that's like my Bronx. I have mad family over there. So
all right, we're gonna let Jada. We're gonna let him
New
release
York to
that.
the fullest.
Yeah,
But one
yo,
thing I
I
can
got enough
say
people out in.
while he's about to check back in, one thing I can say about that song, Sorry Not Sorry, like Frost said, it is going to be one of the hottest songs of the summer. It is right now one of the hottest songs for me. Why? Because I felt like we've been missing real rap for a very, very long time. And I've been saying that real rap is going to come back. And when I heard the Dave East has come out, and you know, the Kendrick Lamars and stuff like that, I knew real rap some way somehow was gonna go through, seep back through all the trap music and everyone sounding the same, because I felt like everybody sounded like Future at one point. You couldn't tell who was
Yeah.
who.
What do you think
Everybody's
it's
trying to
because?
be Little Baby or something. Like everybody's trying to be the same.
Do you
Like their
think it's
sound
because?
is
Do you
is
think it
not
has to
different.
do? Do you think anything has to do with because like everybody's been like locked up inside, so you know the creative minds have been flowing. People got a chance to work, or do you just think it was just that time?
No, to be honest, I feel like people, yeah, COVID did have a thing to do with it. Because after a while, when you sit down and you listen to something over and over and over, you realize that it's the same. Everyone's singing the same tune, just on a different trap beat, and it's crazy. They're like people like Jay-Z and Nas. Their wordplay is disgusting. It's
Yeah,
out of
that's
this
the
world.
thing. That's the
That you
thing. Their
understand what I mean? And
wordplay
they get,
is on a
yeah.
different level.
You feel me? And they're like a Rick Ross, Jay-Z, Nas. There's a handful, Fabulous. There's a handful of rappers that can flow on whether it's trap, whether it's regular, and kill it no matter what, and able to keep their same flow without having to adjust to the traps and the Cardi B's. Like it's different. Like the flows are just different, period. And I can sit down and listen to Jay-Z all day, Nas all day.
Well, on that note, I think without further ado, I think it's time we get into the hot topics.
Yeah.
I think it's ready for the hot topics. I think it's ready for the hot topics. And when we talk about the hot topics, you know, we got to intro the thing proper. Live.
Hey everyone, it's the one and only Brooklyn Big Baby, and I'm here with the hot topics. Yes, honey. So, as you guys know, our sexy boy, Mr. Trey Songz, is in hot water again, dueling. Yes. He was served with some papers today for apparently he beat up a bartender he was at a Cardi B concert, and apparently he was on the bar, standing on the bar trying to watch her perform. And I guess the bartender must have put his shoulder on, the bartender stated that, I tried to get his attention. He wasn't listening when I was calling his name. So he must have gently put his hand on his shoulder to let him know he cannot stand on the bar as per policy. And that's where it escalated, and a big fight broke out, and he allegedly assaulted the bartender. So now this stemmed back all the way from back in, I believe it was May of 2019. Yeah, this was way back in May 2019, and now he's being served papers. Everyone knows that Trey Songz is not only sexy as hell and has the voice of goddamn. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it. Goddamn, because he be making you want to take off all your clothes, baby, and be making you want to have babies, darling. But he's always getting into altercations or arguments and fights and things of that nature. So all I can say to Mr. Sexy, Mr. Trey Songz, dueling, I cannot see your cute ass behind bars. I cannot see you in orange or any type of stripes. That is not good for you, dueling. So what I'm going to need you to do is fix up. Tell your marketing team, your PR, your manager, they got to handle this one, because this one ain't pretty. Women, men, we can't be having that. You need to be fixing up, because, you're Black and you're handsome. And this is something that we don't want to be on your record, to be known as going around and assaulting people, beating up people because you feel like you're a celebrity and you can do what you want. At the end of the day, there are always consequences to your actions. So you might want to think about that. He probably give out some change and it will probably go away. You never know. But I will definitely keep you guys up to date with that. So everyone knows America has their drama, We're always talking about American drama, but this time, I hope you guys got your tea. Because this time we got our own tea, darling, and our own drama in our own very city. I don't know if you guys paid attention to Instagram lately, but yesterday and the day before, our boy, the one and only, the DJ of the city, Mr. I Am Snoopy, went live, okay, on his live and was going back and forth, allegedly, not allegedly, but he was going back and forth with, a couple people. He was really angry, and apparently it had stemmed from drama with his new girlfriend and his ex, which is his baby mother, and stuff like that. It was festive, darling. I was there with my tea, my popcorn, everything, my licorice, everything. It was so juicy, okay? From, baby mama's pulling up to the crib to, his new girlfriend putting on her sneaks and everything and ready to thump, to, Snoopy going downstairs to address the issue, to then him going on live with his current girlfriend's boyfriend yesterday. It was just a bunch of juiciness and tea. And it, you know what, to me, Snoopy is my boy from day one. His girl Spinnerella, she's beautiful. Shout out to his baby mother Sharkeisha and my boy Bliss, you know what I mean? But it's a whole hot ass mess, and we need to fix that. And matter of fact, we don't, because I do think we need to have a Toronto Love and Hip Hop, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I would love to produce it or even be the host of it. But anyways, I'm going to keep you guys posted with that, because apparently he's having another episode drop, because apparently yesterday was episode 9, but the season finale would be on August, I believe the 14th. So I'll keep you guys informed and keep you guys up to date. But make sure you guys log on to I Am Snoopy anytime he goes on live, because he's always spicy. And last but not least, we are going to talk about Mr. G Herbo, who was now hit with another fraud charge for allegedly lying to the federal agents in connection into his fraud case, which is pending and which is going on right now. So I don't know if you guys know a little bit back history about G Herbo. Apparently G Herbo was arrested for fraud charges. So, they were saying that there was somebody in his camp who was either using fraudulent credit cards and things of that nature, fraudulent names to get the jets and the private jets that they be all up in, the cars they be renting, and the houses they currently own, and all these type of things had to do with fraud. So me personally, my thing is that my life is way too precious to be going to jail for fraud. If you don't have it, don't front like you do, because some way, somehow, anything in the dark will come to light. So, that kind of stems into what we're talking about today, about the jewelries and the cars over real estate and all these type of things. 9 out of 10 times, when you guys see these celebrities and things of that nature, living lavish lifestyles and thinking that they're buying these things, half of the time they're not. They're renting them, and sometimes they rent them for the day to take pictures and post them on Instagram and make everybody think that they own these things. But then when the repo truck pulls up to their house and they some way somehow find themselves on the Shade Room or World Star, then and there that they're actually broke and don't really have as much money as they front to be. And then people like us run out and try to buy these things and live beyond our means that we know we can't afford, because we want to live like the celebrities. My thing is if you don't have it, don't front like you do. Work for it and do what you got to do, like Jay-Z did, like he said. You know what I mean? That's another B. Haters mad because, he got another B. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to get to where Jay-Z and Beyonce at. So I'm not trying to stay where I'm at forever. So like I said, I'd rather get my money the legal way than the illegal way. So yeah, that's the hot topics of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will be back.
Brooklyn, the people them I forget them money. So if a scamming at the thing, a scamming them say.
Scamming after one, but there comes a point where scamming when you start boasting and You know what I mean? When you start flashing and doing all those things, 9 out of 10 times, that's when it goes downhill. When you're low key with your scamming and doing your thing, it's fine. For some odd reason, people are fine. But then when they start to elevate and move up and buy big houses and do all these things that attracts attention, people start looking into those things. So, I just feel like there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, but nowadays with social media, everyone feels like fast money is the best money to get. And it's really not, to me personally.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Now there's a good and a bad way. So because nowadays, because of social media and technology, sometimes the money is a little bit faster and easier to get. But like you said, it's not always a good thing. And just because you have it, it doesn't mean you have to flash it and throw it around and do stupid things with it.
That's a fact.
Now on that note, I think that's a good segue into the Find Your Biz, because I had somebody asking me about business accounts. So even if you're scamming, even if you're doing it the legal way, today's topic in Find Your Biz is going to tell you what to do with it. So we'll be back in 5, 4, 3, 2. What's up, everybody? My name is Ja Wiggs, and this is Fine Tune Your Biz. So I had a client a couple days ago asking me, "Hey, Ja Wiggs, do I need a business account? Do you have a business account? A separate business account, different than your personal account?" So I'm gonna answer that in 4 quick steps, 4 quick answers, right? Number one, I'm gonna say yes, it's definitely beneficial if you're running a business that sells a product or a service, or you have some sort of incoming cash flow or expenses that you have to pay. You definitely want to have a business account running separate than your personal account. The number one reason is exactly that. It's the easiest and best way to keep your personal finances separate than your business finances. You may think to yourself, "Oh, I'll keep track of it. I'll write it down." But think of 12 months down the road when you're looking at all your invoices and your statements and you're trying to separate, was this gas trip and this restaurant meal for my business or was it for my family? So to keep that separate, keep your account separate, and then your flow will be easier at the end of the year. Another great reason why you want to have a separate business account is because you will start building credit for your credit history for your business. So when you want to apply for funding, loans, credit cards, and things like that, companies will look at your credit history, your banking history, to see how long you've been doing business, the type of income and expenses that you've been receiving, how you've been paying your bills and things like that. Another important thing is that it presents your business on a more professional level to clients. So you may receive some services or transaction where a client may pay with a check or want to pay with a credit card or a direct deposit to your account. Having a separate business account in your business name gives you that extra professional edge. And like I mentioned earlier, thinking forward and thinking ahead, it saves money at tax time. When you have your business account separate, a lot of these online platforms have systems integrated where they just run reports through your account, separate transactions, and off to the CRA. So again, those are some tips on why you definitely should have a separate business account for your business. My name is Ja Wiggs, and that was Fine Tune Your Business.
Oh my God.
We back. What's up, Brooklyn? You good?
Yes, Medea. Where Jada on there? We
I
can't
know.
find it.
I think his laptop is giving some issues, so I'm gonna try to see if he can connect back through his phone. But we're gonna keep it running same way. That's no worries.
Okay.
So you ready for the talk to Tings?
You know, see me, I put on my lip gloss, come ready.
I knew I didn't need to ask, because when I seen the preparation, I said, "Boy, it looked like the Tings are good talk, you know." And anytime the things have to talk, me have to run because me don't want there when the things them talk.
Yes, and this one is that.
Me have to
Please,
run.
please.
Me have to run.
Hey everybody, it's the one and only Brooklyn Big Baby, and I am back with Hot the Things, baby. Yes, and say my mouth in a giant church. So I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, and petite, just like myself. So this goes out to the dirty man them. I mean, I talk about the broke pocket man them. I mean, I talk about the users them. I mean, I talk about the ungrateful man them. I don't understand. What I don't understand is that you want a woman to boss up and be this boss bitch, as you guys claim, and be out here. She got to have her own this, own that, be able to, she's at the table paying, if you guys go to dinner, it has to be 50-50 with what's going on 2021, all these type of things or whatever. I get it. You guys want the girls with the big breasts, the Fiat breast and Fiat body, all these type of things. I get it. You guys have very high standards, but so do women. We have very, very high standards. Okay. So if you can't carry your own and pay bills on your own without fully relying on your significant other and getting upset because your significant other cannot give you something at the time that you may need it, and you're not being reciprocal in the relationship, just leave and go, and don't even be bothered. Don't come over here with that negativity, that negative energy. Be one of those people who make us feel, be a manipulator and make us feel all bad because we can't do this and we can't do that. First off, when I met you, you had your own. When you met me, I had my own. Okay? If I don't come to you for anything, 9 out of 10 times I can do it for myself. The one time that I do come to you for something, half of the time I'm probably testing you just to see if you are going to give it to me or not. I may not need it because, I have my own. But don't come with that only 80-20 attitude. Oh, I'm a man, so you're supposed to. No, sweetheart. No. It is 60-40. I got the 60, you got the 40, because what's between my legs, honey, will be locked down. And once that is locked down, we all know how you guys act when that's locked down. Crazy, mad, stupid, all these type of things, stalker, all these things. So my thing is if you want, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. So if you want me to be a bad bitch, I need you to be I'm not even going to call you the N-word because I have more respect for certain men like that. So I need you to be a man and do what you are supposed to do, which is protect, provide, and just be that person that's there. Support me. If you're not going to support me and you want me to support you all the time, it's not going to work that way. If I'm posting something that I'm doing, I expect it to be all up in your posts, all up in your stories. Same way, if you were doing something successful, you would want it all up in my post and all up in my stories. So don't fake the funk behind closed doors and make it seem like it's me and you, and then to the world I'm a nobody, because I will put you on blast, boo-boo. I will put you on blast because half of you guys are out there are quick pumpers. And because we like you and your ego, we're not about to tell you about that. So, Jack, don't act up because a girl like me will put you on blast. So, I love you guys. I love men. No, actually, right now, I hate them. So I'm just going to keep it pushing, because if I stay here for too long, I get hot and ignorant. And when we get hot and ignorant, a problem. So, ladies, this summer, we are going to have fun. It's not a hot girl summer. It's a sizzling summer. It's a all season body summer. I'm a girl will have, all around me sexy. All right. So ladies, it's an all season summer for everybody. And man, them move to the side at the girl them time. Thank you. And I am out with the, yes, honey Bye.
I said the things them always have to talk when
You
Brooklyn
always have to
said
cut the
that.
things them. The man them too disgusting. And as you
Now,
can see, the man them very, very
well,
disgusting.
hopefully by the end of this episode, the man them are gonna boss up as well because we have a lot of nice information for the masters them. Now, I
Hopefully.
also just want to big up Nell Sapphire that's tuning in on the IG. I want to big up Gems. I want to big up British Royalty. I want to big up Six of Spade. She said she
CEO.
loves what we're doing. Big up for the support. Big up
Listen, who?
Scoops. Big up
Oh,
Six of
okay.
Spade. Big up Serve Your Life. Big up everybody that's tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe at Vupointz on all networks. We had a couple of the IG people quickly make the switch over to the YouTube and Twitch, and they're loving the layout. So if you're watching on Instagram and you want to get a full visual layout of the Vupointz show and get a full understanding of some of what the guests are saying, of all of what the guests are saying, we do recommend that you check the top of the screen and follow those networks on either Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. We are live right now, and we are about to get into today's topic. Jada, man, you're looking good. Say something so I could hear you. Today's topic, bro. This is an interesting topic.
1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
You
you
hearing
loud
me?
and clear, Ghost.
You hearing me?
Yes,
I hear
yes,
you.
Ghost.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Jada, it's good to have you back. So when I was doing a little research on today's topic, right?
Yeah.
Came across an article that said that was titled "The 20 Biggest Waste of Money." Right? Now, I was trying to relate that to our topic. Now, fourth on that list, new cars.
Number 4. So hold on. So the list went from what? Number 1 being the number one
the
biggest waste
of money. So
Okay.
the biggest waste of money, cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know what the second biggest waste of money was?
What's that?
Designer clothing and fashion.
Ouch.
That's not an ouch. That's an automatic.
And then, like I said, so cars was number 4. Let me skip down, and number 8 was jewelry. So
Top 10.
cars, clothes, and jewelry are among the 10 biggest waste of money according to certain people. So
Yeah.
what's your take on that, Brooklyn?
That's a fact. A lot of people rather, like I said previously, like a lot of people talking about like the G Herbo situation. Like a lot of people rather be out here in $1,500 jeans opposed to go to Levi's and buy some decent jeans that looks like those $1,500 jeans, but because they want to be in style and with what's going on, that's what they're gonna do. A lot of people don't have a bed to sleep on, but they will take their last money to go buy those designer clothes or designer sneakers to be in style with everybody.
Yeah, makes sense. Now Jada, before we bring on our first guest, Andrea, right? Let me know what you think about the housing and land aspect of it. So, like, if you won $10 million today, what's the first thing you're buying? House, land, new shoes, car. What you buying for?
Okay, so the first thing I'm doing, 10 mil. I gotta clear up some debt. Whatever debt I got, I'm clearing that up. I'm gonna situate. So here's the thing. Right off the bat, half of it is going to an investment cycle, right? An investment tool, right? So I gotta meet with financial advisor and whatnot and figure out how I'm gonna work with that half that I'm putting away automatically. It's money I'm not even gonna touch. So the 5 mil is what I'm gonna really work with. You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna clear up some debt. I'm gonna look at my family, right? Because I'm a family man first, right? So I'm gonna look at my family, meaning from my mom to my brothers to everybody, all the siblings. I gotta figure out. I'm gonna put them in order, figure out what their situation looks like, and I'm gonna try to elevate their situation. All right. So it's not. So if somebody is trying to go to law school, that's on the menu. If somebody needs their debt paid off in order to qualify for X, Y, and Z, that's on the menu, right? So I'm gonna do that piece with my family. So I'm not just gonna give them money to just go run up and do what they want. It has to be a plan. We're gonna write it down. We're gonna figure it out, and it has to equate to, you know, some long-term sustainability where they could take care of their children and so forth and so on. And then yes, my thing is the investments, right? So I'm gonna link up with who we got coming up next, and we're gonna figure out some moves and figure out how much property, or what land we could cop and what we could develop on it and that sort of stuff. And what else are we doing? We're doing a whole bunch of different things, but I'm gonna sit down with the team. We're gonna figure it out. Half of that's already going away. We're doing land. We're doing we're invested in some businesses. We're gonna do some stuff for the hood. We're gonna take care of the family, and yeah, that's pretty much right off the top of the head. Without sitting down, that's where we're going.
Well, what stood out to me from what you said was the land, was the land portion, because when you own land, there's a lot of things you could do. Now, I ain't the expert, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the expert. But I think we do. I think it's about time we bring on an expert or a professional in the field. Right now, in the lobby, we do have a couple guests. I would like to thank them for their patience as well. And I do want to urge the guests, if you're following on Instagram, please check out Vupointz on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, so you can get a full visual representation of the show, so you can watch the show in its full 100% form. If you're unable to, we will try to navigate the screen accordingly, but we do want you to like, subscribe, and follow at Vupointz on all networks. So make the switch, and thank you for joining us.
So Wiggums, before you start, I sent you something. We wanna do this right, this intro. So check your email. Check your email. I sent you something. You're gonna play that just before we bring up.
Did you just send it, or you sent it earlier?
No, I sent it just now. You know what I mean? We live. It's all good. We gotta do it right.
All right, I'm checking. Let me check.
We're gonna do it right.
Procrastinator.
Let me just check it.
Hold on. So the whole time when you're off, you're gonna just
send it? You just send it, or you sent it before?
It's just sent.
I have one queued up already.
Oh, you had one queued up?
Is that the one, or is that a different one?
Maybe the one, but send that one. Check that one right there.
This one?
You know what? My screen, to everybody tuning in, I'm still having little intermittent.
Right. Well, don't worry. I don't want to play the wrong video, right? But what I want to do, I want to bring in Andrea Dixon of Sakmet Development, because she's been patiently waiting in the lobby, and we do have a lot of tuner viewers on all the networks that are interested in today's topic, right? So Andrea Dixon of Sakmet Development. Jada, are you online?
I'm on right now.
All right, Andrea, are you with us?
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the show, and thank you for your patience.
Thanks for having me.
Jada, would you like to introduce Andrea, please?
Whoa, so Andrea, all I gotta say is I'm proud of this woman right here. Extremely proud to know her. I seen her growing up as a young lady, very quiet growing up, and never knew it. That's what life's about. You just never know who's gonna be what, who's gonna become what, and who people are and how they're gonna interconnect with your world when you get older or when you need them. So she's doing a lot of great things. She's her business, her company is one of few Black businesses like this in the entire city. And when I say the city, I'm talking Toronto for those that are tuning in. And Toronto's one of the largest cities in North America. So to be one of the few in one of the largest cities in North America, it's a big deal. So we brought on a big deal. Miss Andrea Dixon from Sakmet Developments.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Hi. She's
Hi,
so
how are
pretty.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, Andrea. So I heard you're the big baller shot caller out here when it comes to development and things of that nature. So I would love to know a couple things about you. So I'm gonna kick it off real quick. I'm gonna kick it off with something real simple. Nothing too. We're gonna go up and up, but right now I'm gonna kick it with something simple. So our first question for you today is: can you please tell us what a development company does and why you got into that type of business?
Yeah, sure. So basically, a development company will basically purchase land in different forms. So land with an existing property on it, or just raw land, or just buy numerous houses next to each other, and then do a land assembly. The goal would then be to build within that zoning bylaw, whether it be residential, commercial, etc. So Sakmet Developments, we started in 2015. So we develop our own land, and we also do contract builds for other developers and build custom homes for clients. It is a family-run business, so it's a team effort where we combine our skills, our passions when it comes to real estate investing, construction technology, mortgage financing, accounting, and like sales management. I guess when the opportunity presented itself, it made sense to begin to develop and build in Canada, where we're born and raised, right? We come from a Caribbean background, so it's a norm for like our parents, our family members to go back home and build, a retirement home or a vacation family home on the land in which was inherited or bought. So that was very familiar. So it just made perfect sense to develop land in the GTA, and build here where we're born, our own community and for our kids. So that's all that came about.
That's amazing. That is amazing, and I love the fact that it's family. You spoke about family, so I'm
Yeah,
happy
it's a
that
family business.
it's a family business. And when it comes to family businesses, some people find it hard to work with family. Before we get into the next question, is it hard to work with your family, or do you find that it's much easier to if something was to go wrong or anything of that nature, it's much easier to present it to a family member than it would be a coworker or somebody you work with?
Like in our situation, it happened very organically, and we all stay in our own lane, right? So we just come together and just build together. We started off very slow, and it kind of progressed into this. We're still not experts in the field. We're still, learning as we go. We've been up and running since 2015, not that long ago when it comes to like development, because it does take long. So it is a process, and I think we're heading in the right direction. Again, we all stay in our lane, so I think it just happens very organically, and it's going good so far. So we're all passionate about it, so that makes it very easy. We're not doing it for like to get rich and to have all this money. So we just really want to do it to build a legacy for our kids, and live out our passion. So it becomes easy.
Yes, honey. I love it. Black excellence. I love it. Wiggy, are you okay? Is he on mute?
No, I just had to switch my mic. I just had to.
Okay.
So congratulations to you and your family as well, because I was listening to your story and I just love the idea and just the whole aspect of working with your family and building the legacy with your family, right? Now, in relation to our topic, right, we posed a question to the mass. Well, not even a question. We posed a statement saying, it's why you should buy houses and land instead of cars and jewelry. Now, is that a statement that you agree with? And if you do or you don't, why?
Yes, I definitely agree with that statement. I think that's the direction our community should be going in. We all have to face a time in life where we have to decide what we want to do with our hard-earned money, right? So we should definitely prioritize buying land and homes before buying things that we can't pass on to our kids. I'm not opposed to like, jewelry and fancy cars, but I think that should definitely come after. When I first purchased my first property about 10 years ago with my partner, I wasn't even driving a car. So people were probably laughing at me when they see me pushing a buggy with my groceries or standing at the bus shelter or whatnot. But that was the beginning. And we were able to buy numerous pre-construction properties from that first investment. And I think that's a conversation that definitely people in relationships, not only like boyfriend or girlfriend or husband and wife, even like sisters, close friends and family, we should have. Now with the market being like where it is, it's like booming right now. It makes it hard for first-time home buyers to get in the market. So I definitely think that's a conversation that people should have, even if it's even doing a joint venture with two or more people. I think it's definitely possible, and it's to get your foot in the door, to buy your own property one day in the near future. So,
well, that definitely makes sense. Now, I like how you were talking about the like the beginners part of it, because Jada was we were talking about something about that earlier. Jada, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? We good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm back, everybody. I'm back. Different device, but we back. All right, so Andrea, here's the next question I want to ask you. Okay, so in regards to the beginners piece, right? Because we're gonna take it as if everybody listening is at level one with this thing, right? Can you tell us a bit about what a beginner's process for purchasing land?
Sorry, you're chipping out.
You're chipping out.
Okay.
What was that again?
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit about a beginner's process to purchasing land, in which they want to build on it, and what are some of the benefits to owning that land, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I would definitely first have a detailed business plan and a budget prior to us even doing anything when it comes to building any residential homes. Like it was all planning, right? So I think you should definitely have a budget so you know exactly what you want to do and how much it will cost. You may have to get a construction consultant if that's not like your field. You would obviously need a realtor. You would want to get a realtor with experience in land deals. Also, you should be attacking it from all angles. So like even creating opportunities yourself. So like when you're not busy, just drive around in your car. Already have letters written in envelopes, and if you just even look at a property and see like a small home around a big parcel of land, and it's not for sale. Who's to say you can't go to the mailbox and drop a letter in there? You never know what will become of it. Like if they may think of selling their property, or even like 6 months or a year or two down the line, they'll call, right? So yeah, creating opportunities for yourself to do like land assemblies, or just even if you want to build your own custom home one day, you may just want to buy a house that you could either rent out or live in. And if you can't afford to build like your dream home, you could, do it in 3 years, 5 years, build equity in the house. And at that time, you could, build your custom home. And, the benefits of doing that, purchasing land and building, there's lots of benefits. For one, you don't pay HST if you're going to be living there. And if you want to build it and sell it to somebody, or even send it off to like a family member or your child, you could, sell it to them for $1 and save a lot when it comes to taxes and whatnot. So a lot of benefits, right?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people doing some of the things that you mentioned about driving around and dropping off like letters. Where I live right now, it's like in the north side of the city. So there's a lot of one-off properties that are just like farmland and things as well. So a lot of times I'm driving and I say to myself, those people probably get letters once a week, but but like you mentioned, the longer they hold out, then the more money they can get, right?
Yeah, definitely. But you never know what would be coming up. We got a couple callbacks, but sometimes when we looked into it, it wasn't feasible. So that's another thing. So when you have a realtor and you're looking, you want to make sure whatever you purchase, you're able to build on it. So when you're putting in the offer, you want to make it conditional, so you have that time to, get in contact with the municipality, and make sure you're able to do whatever it is you want to do before you actually lock in all the way and buy it.
So hold on. So what does a conditional offer mean? Because we're gonna take it as if people listening know nothing. So a conditional.
Yeah, like just basically having them provide like SOLS reports, different reports, geotechnical reports, and basically giving you the time frame to do your own due diligence, contacting the city, making sure it's zoned for whatever it is that you want to build, whether it be a home or a commercial plaza, making sure you're able to do that.
Okay, so you're putting in an offer saying it's conditional, meaning conditional based on me checking these things off.
Sorry, you're just chipping out.
Okay, so you're saying it's conditional. You're putting in an offer saying it's conditional based on a certain amount, a certain set parameter, right? Which is, I want to check this out. I gotta check out this. I gotta do my, I gotta go around and check this. And then when you've come back and you could actually say I want it or I don't want it. Is that kind of what you're saying? After you've gone around and looked into everything?
Yeah, there has to be a time frame where you could just back out the deal and get your deposit back. And experienced realtor that deals with land deals, they'll definitely know that, and they'll make sure they get all that information for you and do that due diligence.
And what will happen? What will happen if they don't do that, and you purchase a home, and you're unable to expand? What then happens?
It does happen all the time. People get stuck with properties. You may have to just sell it back, or whoever else, like if a developer, you want to look at how long it was on the market too, right? So that's why when you're looking for land, if it's hot, it's not going to last long. So you want to jump in and make that offer and tie it up. But definitely, if it's something sitting for a long time, chances are you're not able to build on it. So yeah, so if you do get caught in that situation, you're just going to have to sell back the property, or you're just going to get stuck with it. So that's why it's very important, when you get into this business, you have get a construction consultant, a planner involved, just network in the field, and line your ducks in order so you don't get caught in that situation.
Okay, thank you. I'm not a homeowner, but hopefully I will be very very soon. And after this, all this information that you guys will be giving tonight, will put me in a different a different perspective and have a different outlook on things. So my next question for you then would be, being one of the few proven Black-owned development companies in Toronto, what are two major challenges you've experienced, and what do future developers need to do to avoid them?
I think this field is very challenging on its own. Regardless, like right now, the construction cost has gone up due to COVID. So, it's very challenging industry as is. Definitely being a Black developer, that even just adds a lot of more pressure. So I would just say, like, when you get a project and you have to go in for like a draft plan approval, like a hearing and stuff like that, you definitely want to get a planner to handle that. So you have somebody go in there, at the forefront. And the planner that you get, you want to make sure they're experienced in the municipality in which you're building, so they're familiar with the people, they deal with them on a regular basis. So when they're going to go in to handle their development plan, it'll most likely go more smoother rather than you go there and deal with it yourself. So that's definitely one thing I would say.
So you spoke about COVID. I know before COVID, can you tell us a little bit about the before COVID and the aftermath of COVID? What are the ups and the pros and the cons between them two? Between the two, were there any pros from the COVID? Were there more cons? Things of that nature.
The good thing is that we were able to keep building because it is essential. Right now, the prices have gone up, and lumber and stuff like that. But that's why it's very important when you're getting to this business, you set aside, a contingency for anything that could happen. So the good things is that the project that we have right now, we purchased it a while ago. So we're able to, control all of the extra costs, but it is, a field that, you have to be very prepared for anything that could come out of nowhere. So.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So, well, before I play this clip, um, if there's anybody out there that wants to buy land, or if they want to know what's going on with you and your family run company, can you let the Vupointz viewers know what's going on with you, where they can contact you and things like that?
Yeah, sure. So basically our website, if you want to see like all the past developments that we did, you can visit, learn more about us. You could visit www.sakmet.ca. Also our Instagram is sakmet.developments. And also just check out our current project we have that we're going to be going into in Penticton. It's probably 2.5 hours up north, but it is really good for first-time home buyers to get in the door since it's going to be high 400s. So that's really good, and it's a good investment property because it's like a hidden gem. It's like a cottage town, surrounded by water. So it's a really beautiful place. So that's a great opportunity for first-time home buyers. If you want to get in, we can deal with the community at different capacities when it comes to even like share investments on our current projects that we have. So you could email Andrea at sakmet.ca. You can call 416-752-1109. And just to, learn how you could even work with us, even on a joint venture project, if that's something that you're seriously wanting to get into. We're definitely, down to sit down, talk, have a meeting, and see how we could work together to establish even your vision, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be our vision. We could, stir in the right direction and see how we could work together to make that happen.
To build the dream.
Yeah. So we build for other developers as well. So definitely, if somebody has something, and they see it, we could definitely come in and see what we think and how we can, work together to make it happen. No problem.
Yeah.
A lot of great information. I want to just play this clip quickly. We have a late entry. So this is anything you want to say about this clip, you can let
all the
people
parts
know.
of the world is right here.
Oh, I'll let it
You
go.
got the Chinese showing their culture in numbers, the Sri Lankans and the Indians doing the prayers and the Buddha, and the Europeans' presence is galore. I'm Canadian, and I represent the African and the Caribbeans. I'm dreaming of working with my community in the same capacity of what's going on out there. We can do this. The start, the finish, the finish, the start. You see thoughts? Thoughts have wings. And when it's that time, it's time to fly past these barriers. Looking forward to working with you in any capacity we can, in the name of community.
Bring your visions to life. Be inspired, be you.
Yeah. You know what? If I can say something, Wiggs, so Sakmet, as you can see, everything in that video was them. So those homes that you see, their designs are really, modernized, and they're really sleek. And I'm telling you, like their finishes, people that are looking to purchase homes, people that have purchased homes, a big thing with them is you're gonna be satisfied from inside out. Walking in from the parking lot, walking through your house to the backyard, and coming straight back. Like they're on top of their thing, man. So, and as you heard her say, she's willing to work with community. She wants to work with community. They want to work with community, and that's why her and I, and the folks that are around me, that's why we link like that. My thing is community and building, and that's what she's about. And everybody who's coming on our show, and I'm gonna guarantee this to our audience, they're about building. This is what the Viewpoints is all about: meeting other minds, enhancing, empowering, improving what we got going on, and this is our lane. So Andrea, we thank you. We thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You go, girl. Girl power. I like that. See, a boss. I like that. Female bosses.
A
I
lot of
like
great
that.
information there. You know, one things that some of the things that stood out to me with Andrea was, like I said, family run business. She talked about how our parents are always talking about going back home and building land, houses and land and things like that. Her and the younger generation, you know, the conversations are happening. So big up everybody that's tuning in, and big up everyone that's here and taking note of the information that's being provided. We do have some more guests here that have been patiently waiting in the lobby. So I want to thank them as well. I'm about to bring on Nicole and Sheldon of Anderson and Christian Realty. Now, Jada, I'm going to bring them on. Hello, Nicole, welcome. And
Hello,
hello,
everyone.
Sheldon, welcome to the Vupointz show.
Thanks for having me.
Jada.
Yeah. So these two here, if anybody was listening to 98.7 over the last several years, their name was ringing every other second. I thought something was wrong with my machine. So they were running ads like crazy. These two, they're realtors, real estate agents. They'll be able to break it down a little further, but very good people. Similarly to people that want to work with our community, for our community, and they deal with you. You remember last week? For those of you who tuned in, we talked about why we should support Black businesses, or what do we need to do in order to support Black businesses, and some of the customer service pieces and those other pieces we talked about. Some businesses needing this business right here, this tandem, they have it. And so I'm just glad that they're on board, and we're gonna give you your flowers. So I'm done. Brooke.
Yes. First off, I want to say hello to you guys. You guys look amazing. You guys came fresh to death, looking real crispy and out of white. So, ear caught, everything ear done. I love it. First, I just want to salute you guys for being, you know, an inspiration to a lot of us out here that hope and dream that we can get into businesses like this, because we weren't, as kids, we weren't taught a lot of things growing up. So knowing that people that look like me are able to succeed in businesses just like this makes me so happy to see my people helping me out here. So thank you guys so much. So my first question to you would be, what kind of business are you in and why did you get started?
Okay, so I'll take this one, Sheldon. Sheldon and I work together as realtors. And first, let me say thank you so much for having us. We feel honored to be with you guys. And the last segment was amazing. Shout outs to Andrea. I love that so much. And after I'm done here, I'm definitely jumping on and checking out that development firm. So as I was saying, sorry, I digress. Sheldon and I work as realtors, and we're also part of a real estate investment group where we buy properties and we hold them or flip them. We decide that along with the other members of the group. And last but not least, we also own a small restaurant. So you see, we're into many different things, and that's just because these days, if you've got super dreams, you've got to have multiple revenue streams, and so that's why we are not only realtors, but we're restaurant owners, and we're also trying to have our feet instead of just buying properties on behalf of our clients, we're trying to do the same for ourselves as well. You can take it from there, Sheldon.
No, I mean, you did a good job. As my mom would say, you hit the nail on the head. But, congratulations to the last speaker, right? I think you guys, that was fantastic. I have their website up on my screen right now because, I think what people need to understand is when we talk about Black businesses, sometimes people associate that with mediocre, right? And I think, just based on that video that you saw, right? When we talk about Black businesses, I think people have to start associating that with like development and excellence, right? And I think that's what you guys have kind of bringing to the table, because when you listen to Andrea and you're looking at some of the projects that they've been involved in, if you didn't know that it was a Black businesses, you would probably think it was Green Park or any other big development, right? So kudos to you guys for bringing her on. That was really awesome. So
for sure. Wiggs, you're on mute. Wiggs.
Oh, gotcha. So again, well, thank you for
That's
those
what
big
we
ups. And
do.
again, we're here trying to, knowledge is power. That's what we say. So, just as some of us are fortunate to have access to the information, we have to do our part to help share information to the masses. So, just as how you're thanking us, we want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us to help empower the people. So my next question, you kind of touched on it already, in relation to the topic. We posed it in a certain way, letting the people know why you should buy house and land instead of cars and jewelry. Now, based on Sheldon, what you last said, I kind of think you agree. But what do you think has been causing people to go in that direction, or more so nowadays than before, if that's the case? Or like what do you think is causing this hoopla in owning land and ownership in?
So definitely, I definitely think we should be, when we talk about land or real estate, that's definitely should be the focus. And I think in a lot of cases, sometimes we tend to put the cart before the horse, and I think Andrea said it right. So I think we got to spin it back around, and there's nothing wrong with nice things per se, but I think we have to be more patient and lay some groundwork and some foundation, right? And Jada Man said it in the past. I mean, I like the example that he gave when he talked about splitting the investment into two buckets, right? You have half, which is sort of long term, and then you have the other half where you kind of figure out what you want to do with it and you develop a plan. So I think in most cases, what we're not doing or talking about is the plan, right? And the plan is, what do you want to be, right? When you're 60 or you're 65, right? In most cases, if you don't develop that plan now, right, you can't do it when you're 65 because you don't have enough, as I would say, you don't have enough runway. So we always want to talk about, the plan, and the plan, there's no better plan than real estate and invest in real estate, right? Like if we can step in a time machine, right, and go back 5 years, I think everybody on this panel would say we would buy more real estate, right? Because if we had bought more real estate 5 years ago, probably we would be doing this podcast from the beach, right? Because we would be on such a sound footing from an investment standpoint. So we always have to remember that sort of the future is now. So oftentimes when we talk about, we always talk about like the hindsight. So for example, when we're talking about real estate, we'll always say, if I only knew. But the truth is, we know what we know now. So this conversation that we're having, in 5 years, we're going to be saying, if I only knew, I would have bought something in 2021. And when it comes to real estate, that's the conversation that we should be having. We know what happens to real estate, right? And in 5 years, it's going to be worth more. So we got to continue to talk about the investment side, and we got to make sure that we're putting our money into, an investment vehicle like real estate, as opposed to cars and clothes. That can come later on because we have that foundation, right? But right now, it's important that we talk about real estate and the investment vehicle.
All right. So when you talked about having a plan, right? We have a comment from Paisha on YouTube. He's asking for first-time home buyers, like what are the best areas to look at to get value for that money that you're spending?
So before I'll let Nicole jump in also. It's not necessarily sort of an area, because we know what's happening with real estate prices, right? So, as in the past, you can easily say, I'll go to Kitchener, I'll go to, like an hour away or 30 minutes away. But now, based on what's happening with prices, I think people have to start also having a conversation with themselves to say, okay, what am I willing to do or to give up, right, in order to get to where I need to be,
where I need to go.
And oftentimes, especially culturally, folks, they want to get there, but they're not willing to make the sacrifices that's required in order to get there. And I'll hand it off to Nicole, because I think Nicole is pretty passionate about this area, because we talk about this all the time. So
yes. So what I hear all the time from folks, especially when I mention where I live, and that's Shelburne. Shout out to Shelburne. It's north. it's far, right? But here's the thing. When I speak to people, especially my own Caribbean people, and I say, hey, I live in Shelburne. I sold my house in Brampton. I was able to buy a bigger house in Shelburne and pay off some debt. And I was like, no, sir, that's too far, sir. This is the thing, though. I had no, it's true. I had to make a decision. I had to decide what was most important to me. And what was most important to me was being on solid footing and not living paycheck to paycheck and being scared, right? So driving an hour north of Brampton, for me, it was well worth it. The sacrifice of not being in the big city was well worth it, because I knew that what it meant now was I was delaying my gratification, right? So I was moving out so that I could be closer to mortgage free, right? So what I think a good strategy is for people to think of it this way. If you're buying the car, once you drive it off that lot, it starts depreciating in value right away. If you were to buy a house, let's say you're a first-time home buyer, average homes in Peel region right now, for example, in Toronto, it's topping $1 million, right? And there's very few people right now whose income is keeping pace with the rate of increase of properties. So I would say, unless you've got that solid financial footing, you've got to look further out. And it's the way it's working out is you're having to go further and further, because let's say 3 years ago, Shelburne was a good buy, but now Shelburne's really expensive, right? So a house that was $400,000 back in 2016 is over $1 million now, right? So now, Dundalk is next, going north. So you're having to look further and further. We just sold a house in Owen Sound that was about $460,000, right? So it's still possible if you're a first-time buyer and you're not, six figures or over to buy properties. You just have to make that sacrifice and look further out. Because imagine if you bought that $460,000 house, your down payment is $23,000. You can spend that on a car, right? Easily. And closing costs is about $7,000. So that's $30,000. And you can easily drop that on a car. But once you drive it off the lot, that's worth nothing. But we expect that same property to be worth about $600,000 in the next 2 to 5 years. So that's a $200,000 increase. And your mortgage is less than a 2-bedroom rental property in Brampton. So $2,000 a month, right? But it's a sacrifice that you'll have to make.
Yeah. So that's that question that Pi asked, and I think it went into the question I was
I lost your audio.
Are you hearing me?
Your audio's chipping out, Jada.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, you're clearer now.
Okay, so what I was saying is that question that Pi asked was pretty much the question I was gonna ask. But let me ask this or pose this piece, because I know that along with some
Hold
people
on,
may.
Nicole, are you hearing us?
Is she okay?
Nicole, Sheldon, are you hearing us?
Oh yeah.
He's hearing us.
Okay, Nicole, I think it could be your headpiece. Can you take out your headpiece? It might be your headpiece.
All right, let me just drop this piece here.
Yeah, maybe ask Sheldon until Nicole.
Yeah.
Is the audio.
So Sheldon, I think another piece that people have to consider is the mortgage amount, right? And being able to, because we've seen this back in the day with let's go to Brampton, where a lot of the Indian community, we'd see like 10 people coming out of that house, right? I remember, and everyone's helping to pay the mortgage. I remember back in the day. Sorry, I'm gonna say, Mom, I'm gonna bring you up here. We're good now, Mom, but I'm gonna bring you up. So I remember one time I said, Mom, let's buy a house, man. And she's like, me no want to live with nobody, right? So I'm just like, okay. And then, that turned into, I never said that years later kind of thing. But, and then, we ended up making it. But what I was going to say is, yes, it is the mentality, right? So we have to, a big part of getting into this game is being able to have some sacrifice. We're gonna have to, what prices are, as he mentioned, the income is not inflating at the rate that the prices are inflating. So we're gonna have to get together, we're gonna have to group together, or we're gonna have to go way out. And if you're going out, I would say don't be afraid, because urban sprawl will follow. And urban sprawl is basically people just moving out of the city and filling up the other areas where they were, where it was country and that sort of stuff. So it's gonna ultimately get developed, but you're gonna have to just, the sacrifice is key, or changing the mindset and coming together.
I totally agree. So, I love stories, right? So when Nicole, for example, went to Shelburne, right? A lot of people, when you talk to them about Shelburne, even when Shelburne was affordable, the first question is way too far. I don't want to live in Shelburne because it's too far because of distance, right? And a good friend of mine said to me one time when, I was talking to him about, some clients saying, hey, for Shelburne is too far, but from an affordability standpoint at the time, it was a really good place to be, right? Just the opportunities, right? And so a friend of mine said to me, you know what, Sheldon, it's so strange that, and this is a story, so just entertain me for 30 seconds. So he said to me, Sheldon, it's so strange, our people, when they talk about distance and, not wanting to make the sacrifice. And, we're all from, a lot of us are from the Caribbean, right? So he said to me, our parents got on a plane, right? And sat on that plane for 4 hours, right? If you're from Jamaica, right? Sat on a plane for 4 hours, right? And they came to Canada, not knowing probably anyone, right? Not knowing how it's going to work out, not knowing what's going to happen to them, right? They just basically said, you know what? I want a better life for my kids. I want a better life for myself. So they were willing to make that sacrifice. So they got on that plane. And while on that plane, a lot of them, it was their first time on that plane. So they don't even know the experience of flying on a plane. And here they are up in the sky, 4 hours. They land wherever they land, right? Could be Toronto. It could be, Calgary, could be anywhere, right? And they now have to figure it out. And so he said to me, in a lot of cases, these people, they're talking about it's far. And we're not saying it's not far, right? It's an hour from Brampton. But what he said to me was, in a lot of cases, these people, they're not even changing their phone number. They're not even changing their friends, right? Nothing is changing. The only thing that's changing is their address. And they're basically not willing to make that sacrifice. So let's go back to what you're saying, is that we have to sometimes, get out of our comfort zone and say, wait a minute, it's go back to that plan. What do I want, right? And an hour away. So if you had bought a house in Shelburne, 5 years ago or 6 or 7 years ago for 350 or 4, right? You would have doubled your money. In some case, more than doubled your money, right? And at that point, you would have had the opportunity now to come back to Peel or come back to Toronto, right? Because now you have that thing called equity, right? So it goes back to what you're saying. We have to really, stop first and think about where we want to be and make a decision, right? If we want to be somewhere else, then we have to start moving in that direction. So we're not saying that you should move to Alaska, right? We're just saying that if you're trying to basically get into home ownership, right? And you're in Peel, where the average price is $1 million. And think about it this way. If you're trying to figure out how much income you need for a particular purchase price, just take that purchase price and divide it by 4.5. And that will tell you the type of income that you need in order to service, right, the mortgage that you're trying to afford. So again, whatever the purchase price is, when you see it, just literally take out the calculator and put in that purchase price and then divide it by 4.5. And that's the income that you're going to need to show to the bank in order to service that mortgage. And let me put a disclaimer. So when I say that's the income, we're just talking about if you had, no debt and so on and so forth, right? Because obviously if you have debt, if you have a car payment, then that income could be more because you need to show more income in order to smooth out the fall, if that makes sense, right? So we don't want to get
So
really
can I ask you a question? So
Yes.
with that equation, right? And again, you don't have to get into the fine details, right?
Mhm.
But so say that number equaled out to 200 grand, right?
Mhm.
Does that mean that's your income over that 20-year mortgage, or is it like how does that fall
Yes.
into play?
Okay, so I'm going to put another disclaimer. So I'm not a mortgage broker at all. So I don't want the mortgage brokers to get upset with me. I'm a realtor, but I do play in that space. But so for example, so if the purchase price was $200,000 and you divide it by the 4.5, then essentially you would need around $45,000 to basically buy that home, right? So essentially, whenever you apply for anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a home. It doesn't matter if it's a credit card. It doesn't matter if it's a car, right? There is basically the banks will look at what they call ratios, right? So they're basically going to look at a thing called your GDS. And again, I'm not a mortgage broker, so I don't want mortgage brokers to be upset with me.
We're going to get into the mortgage show in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. And then there's also like a TDS. So really and truly, the banks are basically saying how much of your income, right now, exactly, will basically help to service this new thing that you're about to buy. And then they'll say how much of your income right now with all the bills that you have will go towards servicing this new thing that you're going to buy, right? So it's the same for, it doesn't matter if it's a credit card, it doesn't matter if it's a car loan, it doesn't matter if it's a mortgage. It's the same it's the same reason.
Formula, yeah.
Exactly. And then so the GDS and the TDS basically has to be within a certain perimeter, within a certain number, right? And oftentimes you'll hear the word around 32 to 33% for the GDS, and you certainly don't want to pass 35 for the TDS, which is basically, so what they're doing is they're saying how much of your income, what is going to be used to pay for this mortgage,
pay for this house, because
exactly.
Because you can't expect, okay, I'm going to use 85% of my
there you go,
because they're going to be like, that's not reasonable. How are you going to eat? How are you going to clothe yourself?
That's what I'm talking about. So see, I love the way you break it down because people now understand kind of, it's just sort of basically, okay, how it all works. You're absolutely right. So what the bank is saying is that, hey, 50% of your income can't be used to service this mortgage because we're going to have a problem if something comes up, right? Because again, what if your son gets sick or your daughter gets sick or your car breaks down, right? So what it is they want to make sure that not all of that income is going to be used to service that mortgage, right? And the same when we talk about the TDS, it's really, they're now putting in the bills. So what they're saying is that how much of your income plus all the bills that you have is going to go towards
part two,
exactly. So they don't want to see a scale where it's tipped a certain way, right? And so that's what you got to keep in mind. So when you divide that number, when you divide the purchase price by the 4.5, just take that into consideration. It's not including, the other bills that you may have.
That's amazing. A lot of people wouldn't think about that. I wouldn't have thought about that. I wouldn't have thought about that ever.
So I think
Jim, are you good now?
Nicole, is your audio back?
Yeah, sorry. Can I interject something
here?
Yeah,
thank you for your patience. We just wanted to make sure the audio was good.
Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, so in terms of another strategy that I think that that we can incorporate to reach our financial goals, and I think Jada had alluded to this earlier, and that's practicing group economics, right? So another thing that we have to remember is we are human beings and we make mistakes in this thing called life. So sometimes, for example, when you're ready to buy a house and you go to look at your credit report, it is massacred, right? But you might have great income. So what you could do is you can join forces with somebody else, whether it's family, whether it's, like-minded individuals, you join forces with them and you say, okay, I've got only my income to offer you. I don't have credit to offer you, so I can't be on this mortgage. The other person, hopefully, is in a position to be on the mortgage. And then you combine forces to reach your goal of home ownership. So that's one other strategy that I would say for first-time home buyers, and especially those people who are really wanting to jump in before these prices skyrocket any further. I would say instead of holding off too long, then find other creative ways to work together to reach your goal.
So quick question. You mentioned the term group and things like that. For myself, to put it in layman terms, is that what we call a cosigner?
Well, in this case, not necessarily what I was referring to.
Oh, okay.
When I say group economics, I mean just coming together as individuals, as a team, right? To purchase a home. So if the person who you join forces with, for example, if their credit is shot, they may not be able to be a co-applicant on that mortgage, right? What they may be able to offer is helping with the down payment only, right?
Okay.
Right? So you may need a co-applicant. So you may need somebody else whose credit report is in good shape, right? But out of that group, what I'm saying is, try to find creative ways. For example, if you're not in a position by yourself to buy $1 million home or to buy a $600,000 home, just find like-minded individuals and create a team of people who, you plan with, what your exit strategies are, what each person will contribute to the group, and move forward.
All right. Now, question from the audience for either Sheldon or Nicole. Is it better to buy new development or a pre-owned home?
I'll let you take this one, Sheldon.
So when we say better, I don't like the word better because, situations are sort of individualized, right? So, what's best for me might not be what's best for you. So for me, it's, like pre-owned constructions, obviously they're, some people love pre-owns, right? And there's nothing wrong with pre-owns, right? I mean, if you had bought a property 3 years ago, right, you would be laughing right now, right? Because you would have paid significantly less for that property 3 years ago because the market looked different 3 years ago, right? So in some cases, pre-owned, there's nothing wrong with pre-owned. In fact, it could be a great strategy, right, to kind of enter the market now, and then you're not going to see, anything or for the next 3 or 5 years, right? And then depending on what types of pre-constructions also, is this a condo, right? Is this a freehold, right? I tend to love freeholds better than the construction space, the condo space, right? Because, like a condo can take, it could be like 5-6 years, right? Before a condo actually gets put up in the air, right? And then, depending on, what's going on at the time in the market, but typically, there's nothing wrong with a pre-owned. Is it better than buying a resale? It all depends on what the goal is, right? Does that make sense? I know it sounds like I'm not answering the question, but it all depends.
It actually makes sense, and it kind of leads into the next question. I think Brooklyn had a question.
Yes, I do. Everything you guys are saying is so insightful, and like I said, I'm not a homeowner as of yet, but hopefully one day I will be. So you guys are giving me a lot to think about. One day I will be. So my question to you, beautiful people, is we also hear about flipping houses in our music and all over social media. Is this actually lucrative? And how can someone get started in this market? Like myself, for instance.
So I'm gonna start, but I want Nicole to also jump in because sometimes we say the complete opposite, right? So hopefully we won't do that here. But it's possible. So flipping homes, when we talk about HDTV, right? Let's talk about HDTV first, right? When we watch HDTV, I got to tell you, it's a realtor's pain point, right? Because I think what oftentimes happens is when we see this play out on a TV screen, it's completely different in real life, right? You know, even the buying and the selling process, right? You got to remember, like, you know, it's TV, so a lot of it is sensationalized, right, in regards to what's happening, right? So flipping, yes, depending on, you know, the purchase price, right, depending on what it's going to take to bring this property to market, there can be money in there, but you really have to, going back to what Andrea says, you really have to do some homework, right? You can't just, you know, buy anything and everything and think you're going to somehow flip it and make $200,000-$300,000, right? Because what you have to remember too is you could buy a property and end up putting more than the property is worth when you sell it. So you got to do a lot of math in regards to trying to figure out, hey, how much is this property worth? As in, how much would I need to pay for this property, and how much work would I have to put into this property to then get it back on the market in order to kind of make it worth my while, right? So I personally hate HDTV because I think it sometimes sends the wrong message in regards to flipping. What I will also say before I hand it off to Nicole is, I think it's important also in that sometimes holding also is where the money is, right? So you can sell and you can make some money, and it's good money. But oftentimes when I talk to a lot of people, 5 years from now, they'll look back at what that same house went for, and they'll say to themselves, oh my gosh, if I only had, you know, hold out, right? I mean, I had a place, you know, back in the days in East Liberty, right? And I always tell even Nicole the story, right? Like, I probably bought this place for $350 and then ended up selling this place in East Liberty, which is like heaven on earth, East Liberty. And now condos in that area they're probably in the 8, right? So can you imagine if I had just hang on to that property, I would have doubled my money. I could have done if I needed money, I could have done a refi to get some money out, right? But I would have still owned the asset, right? So sometimes also one strategy is to hang on for the long haul. And once you own, you can always go in if you need to go in for a refi in order to, you know, do another opportunity and so on and so forth. But again, I want to hear Nicole's opinion on this too, because again, sometimes our reviews is completely polar opposite.
Yeah, let me just touch on that a little bit here. Yeah, I'm looking like a call center agent now. Tech issues all day. Like,
or a pilot.
Yeah, no, I feel the investment real estate game, it is a long-term game. You have to, and I hear people say that about, you know, stocks and that sort of thing, and now crypto, right? So it's a long-term game. Something that I feel so a piece of advice that I give people is, so a lot of people want to get in for the money, but as you said, Sheldon, and I think Nikki, you said it, Nicole, you said it as well, was like the prices are just they're not standing still, right? Like there's only so much land, so the prices, and there's more people coming on earth every second, right? So the price is just going to go up, the demand for it is going up, the cost is going up. So if you don't own a home, some people are like, yo, I want to get a thing to flip. And I'm like, nah. I did it backwards, right? Like, so I got investment stuff, properties first. And I was like, yo, I should have just bought somewhere to live first, right? Because as you said, Sheldon, you can move with that, right? It appreciates. You have some equity, which is the money that it's appreciated to. And you could access some of that money to make some of those moves that you want to, you know, put down on pre-construction and make that flip. And another thing with pre-construction, I'm just talking anecdotal stuff from my experience, is, you know, one property that I invested in, thought it was going to be done in 2 years. It's 5 years now, still not complete. So if I was waiting on that with my life, with my two children, and we're going to hotel to motel for 5 years, and I didn't have so as you said, it all depends where you are and what you need, and you really have to do your research, and sometimes it's, you know, it's like flipping a coin because you never know.
Yeah.
So Nicole, what's your opinion on the flipping houses thing? Yay, nay?
Okay, so just starting off with what Jada just spoke about, buying your own property and then allowing it to gain its equity and then taking that out and then traveling to now an investment property. Now imagine if you had your own property and you also had as part of that own property an investment suite. So let's say the basement, for example, when I bought my first home, that basement was unfinished and just packed with boxes until I sold. And that was a regret of mine. Imagine if I had finished that basement, just kind of put in that income to finish that basement and rented it out. That rent would have probably covered my mortgage payment, right? So if you can buy a property and then even if it doesn't come with the investment suite right away, if you add it, then that can now be generating money for you, right? So I think that would be my solid advice. If you get your own property to live in, also get part of that you can rent out and make money and you'll make that money while you sleep, right?
So Nicole,
yep.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Okay. So I would definitely suggest that resale homes are definitely a great buy, right? But let's say, you know what? I need a runway to save up this money that I'm going to be putting down on a property. So these developments, they're really aggressive now though, right? They allow you to, on signing, put down some money, then 30 days, put down some more money, then 60 days, then 180 days. So if you needed that runway, right, to, come up with your down payment, then I think there's room, there's a case to be built for that. But I think the opportunity with resale is that you can get a property that generates income for you right away, right? And you can get a property that generates, has multiple suites, that's generating money for you on top and on bottom and on the side. You know what I mean? So that's where I sit. I'm actually with you on that one, Sheldon, for a change.
Hold on a sec. Hold on, Wiggs. I know you wanted to tap in. Hold on. So with that said, the differences, and I believe this, and this is how I see it, with buying a resale, you have to be ready. You have to be packaged. Your credit has to be on point. You have to have all the money. You have to be ready to go. You have to be ready. The income has to be on point. Everything has to be ready to go to move into a resale. Pre-construction, as you mentioned, Nicole, it allows you it gives you that time, right? And I think if you're trying to fix up your credit a little bit, maybe get a better job, maybe you're trying to figure things out, pre-construction I feel is a great way to go. Especially, and I'm going to tap back into Sakmet will work with you. All right, as far as as Nicole said, a lot of these developers now, these builders, it's aggressive. They want 120 grand in 1 year, and you're like, yo, where am I getting that money? Right? So some developers, there's some builders that they're a little less aggressive, and you may need a 40-45 over a year and a half. That sounds doable, but resale, you're gonna need that right away. You're gonna need that plus more right away in order to get into the unit. So there's pros and cons with both, and yeah, you just got to figure out where you are.
All right, now you mentioned investment properties and things like that, right? Now, with all the new houses and new constructions that are being built, are you finding that there's a rise in people that are starting the process knowing that it's going to be an investment property, or is this something that has always been, happening in the backgrounds or in the forefront?
Oh, sorry. You can go ahead and take that one, Sheldon.
So sorry, I thought Nicole was going to jump to that one. So
yeah, you want me to repeat it?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say, with you guys mentioned investment properties and things like that. Now I've noticed with a lot of the new construction going east and north, there's a lot of people that are going into it knowing that it's going to be an investment property. Is this something that has been increasing more lately, or is this something that has always been trending?
Yeah, no, I think lately there's more awareness, right? As every time we turn on the TV screen, right especially with the way prices are moving in real estate. So real estate right now is a as the younger generation would say, it's now trending, right? So I think more and more people are starting to realize, and more people are tuning in, because they're thinking about it. They're saying, wait a minute, holy cow, like if I really want to get in the market, I really have to kind of go where the opportunities are. So you're absolutely right. So as these developments pop up, even if we go back last year, right? So last year, you could even get, last year or even before that, when the market sort of took off, developers, except for the Andrea developer, but a lot of the developers, like the big guys, Green Park, they got really cocky, right? They didn't even want to work with realtors because they didn't need to, right? So people are coming directly to them. Exactly. If you were anywhere in the GTA, whether it's Peel, whether it's Toronto, and you go, people were actually in lines, right, at these showrooms before they open.
You see the trailers with these model homes, and people are walking in.
Exactly. And there was no deals. It's not like there was a deal happening, right? In fact, prices actually, went up. But, so more and more people are going, towards these new developments. And I think Sheldon and Nicole, like, again, my mom, as my mom would always say, hit the nail on the head, in that I think sometimes people, and I think it was a good way to define the groups, a lot of people who need more time, they'll go or move towards the pre-construction. And that's why that's what I was saying. It's, it all depends on the situation, because you're right. Like, as I love it how gentlemen break it down, in that resale, you got to be packaged. You got to be ready, right? If you're not ready, then you're setting yourself up for a disaster, because if you buy a home, you got to close in, it could be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, right? So if you don't have everything figured out, you're going to run into some serious issues. For example, if your credit is not good and you've already committed on a home, you can't fix it in 90 days. You can't even fix it in 12 months. So we have to make sure that we go back to the plan, right? So before you even think about making that purchase, you have to basically be saying to yourself, what does my credit look like, right? What does my credit look like? And first of all, if anyone is, the folks that are listening to us, if you're thinking about buying a place, the first thing you should be doing right now after this, go on Equifax.ca, pull your credit report. Literally, you need to pull your credit report.
Every day matters.
Every day matters. Back in the days, I used to have my credit report behind my door. When I wake up in the mornings, I would look at my credit report, because what's happened to us too culturally is out of sight, out of mind. So we don't want to confront the credit report, because we know that there's it could be a student loan, it could be a car loan, it could be a Rogers bill or a FIDO bill. So we don't want to deal with it. But what I'm saying is, you need to pull your credit report, and don't pull. You know what? If you're serious, don't talk to me about the Credit Karma or the Burwell. I want you to go to Equifax.ca, pull the Equifax, pay the $23, pull the Equifax bureau, because you need to see what's on there. Because what you have to remember is the Burwell and the Credit Karma, those are not really your credit report. They're more of a consumer tool, right? So Equifax, so Burwell, I believe, is TransUnion, and Credit Karma is Equifax, or it could be vice versa. But what you really want to do is just go to Equifax.ca and pull your credit report. That's the first thing. So before you go and spend $25 or $10 at Starbucks, just say to yourself, I'm going to invest $25 in me, and pull that credit report. Print it off, take a look at it, look at the score, but forget about the score for a second. Just look at the trade lines, because sometimes too, people have stuff on their credit report that shouldn't be there, right? Yeah. So you could have an item on your credit report that you don't even know you have, right? So first of all, you just want to make sure it's accurate, and make sure that everything that's there belongs to you. And if it's not, there's a process to get it removed, right? So that's the first recommendation. Pull your credit report. Be like me. Put it on your bedroom door. Every morning when you wake up, you want it to stare you in the face. You know what I mean? Because you can't run from it, right? So that's really important, right? We really need to know what our credit report looks like. A lot of people.
And just to touch on that, I know I've seen reports that now you have to be at about a 680 for CMHC. So you need to be at about, so try to get it at about a 680 or better. That's the goal.
All right, so those balances and start knocking them off.
But I feel like when it comes to credit, a lot of us, when it comes to especially our community, a lot of us, like you said, to Sheldon, to pull your credit report, because a lot of us, we have to remember that from we were younger, we are getting things. I don't know if y'all, but a lot of people, tend to get things in your name and utilize your, your social and things of that nature. So there probably is a lot of things that are on your credit that don't belong there because somebody else used it to get something and didn't pay it off. And I also feel like sometimes when a lot of people want to purchase homes, but I feel like by looking at your credit report, I believe if you are under a 680 or even lower than that, I don't think somebody will want to put it at the back of their door to wake up to that. I think that would be a little bit depressing for somebody to look at, especially if your credit's not up there like that. And, like you guys said, credit is very important when you want to purchase a home. So my question to you guys is, what is your advice to people that want to purchase homes, but their credit is shot to hell and they don't know what to do and they're in panic mode because they do want to purchase a home, but as of right now, it's, it looks slim to none. So what would you guys suggest? What was something you guys would suggest? Is there a program you guys have is there any sort of programs that can help people like that to, in that way, or are they on their own?
So I had mentioned earlier that I know we've come across this situation quite a bit as realtors, where people call us and they inquire about rent to own because their credit is crap, or they have down payment but their credit is not ready. It just needs work, right? So there's two ways of tackling this, or maybe there's more than two ways. The thought of putting it on your door, even though it's depressing, still allows you to see the work that you need to do, perhaps, right? So if it's not totally overwhelming, like if you don't feel like it's impossible, then perhaps that gives you an opportunity to make a plan, right? To say, okay, I see you 565, but I raise you, reducing that balance little by little. And maybe this means that your runway to buying a house is going to be a little bit longer, right? But at least you know that you won't be paying umpteen percentage to a B lender or a private lender to get a mortgage, right? So maybe tackling that head on and reducing your balance is one option. Another option, like I said, is practicing group economics. So perhaps you won't move into your own home right away, but you'll be involved in a real estate project where you own something, and whatever your rule is, maybe sell in 5 years and then you get your 30% or whatever you've organized. You'll gain some money, even though they didn't use your credit, you weren't on the mortgage, but you just offered down payment as your job, right? That's an option. And I think there's also companies that will help you to rebuild your credit. But that just means that, again, you're not going to be able to buy on your own right away. There will be a runway, right, for them to help you fix it and then get it into a shape where borrowers will lend you money on your own.
So the only thing I'll add there is I completely understand in regards to the credit situation, right? So, we don't want folks to feel like, if your credit score is below 680, it's just like game over. It's not game over, right? So it's not that you can't get a mortgage if your credit score is 530 or 540. It's not that at all. It just means your interest rate, your cost of borrowing is going to be higher, right? Because there's more risk to that lender that, things are not going to be smooth, right? And there's nothing wrong with, say, going to, like a B lender or even a private lender, as long as you have a plan, right? The goal is you don't want to be with a B lender or a private lender for 20 years or 10 years, right? The goal of a private lender or a B lender is short term. So I'm okay with private lenders and B lenders as long as there's a plan to get you out of that bucket and into, a more reasonable interest rate later on. So for example, what if, I love the story. So what if your credit score was 550, but the income was there, right? You can get a mortgage. That's perfectly fine. It's just that now your interest rate is not going to be 2% like what at TD or RBC or Scotia. It may be 3% and 4%. And some folks will say, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But really and truly, it's not, right? It's just a matter of managing the risk. So if I had the the income to support a 4%, I would entertain a private lender or a B lender in order to get in the market, as long as I know that, hey, I'm going to now need a runway where in 12 months or 24 months, I'm out of this private lender or B lender, and I'm now at, a TD or BMO or Bank of Montreal, one of these banks. You see what I'm trying to say? So again, the idea is you need to figure out where you are. If you are in that, say, 550 or 590, it's not game over. You can still get a mortgage. You just have to now be ready to pay a higher interest rate. And as long as you have a plan now to say, you know what, I'm only going to live here for 12 months. When I say live here, in that lender's home, right? So as long as you know that I'm only going to be here now for 12 months or 24 months, and then you can now figure out, okay, what happens after 24 months? Now I can go to one of the big fives to apply for a mortgage that's much lower from an interest rate standpoint, right? And by then too, you would have had some equity to help you kind of, get there, right? So that's what I would recommend. So when I say put it on your wall, what I'm really saying is just pull it, look at it, right? And then figure out whether or not you're in a financial position in order to kind of move forward, right? Whatever that looks like. So yeah.
All right. So let me switch it up a bit, right? And get your opinion or some reasoning. I've been shopping through different houses from when my parents were doing it. I've been with my older siblings, gone with aunts and uncles, to myself. What I've noticed in general, let me know if this is a fair assessment, on the real estate and development side, they don't build houses like they used to. Most of our parents and what we know, the house was built on the street with a big backyard and a front lawn, a driveway on the side street. But nowadays, a house looks like a cookie cutter thing, more long than thing. They tell you the bedrooms are small because nobody's in the bedroom, everything's in the basement. So what caused that change? Is it a fair assessment? If you can comment on that.
So absolutely. So the major thing is about, it's capitalism. Yeah, capitalism, right? So you want to maximize space. So right. So like 40 years ago, all right, things were different. It was about a bigger, like, providing space and so on. But now what you find is that you want to basically fit as much house as you can in a subdivision, right? So when Andrea was talking about a planner and architect and all that stuff, right? That's the goal, right? So when any developer looks at a piece of land, right? They're looking at, okay, how many homes can I fit here, right? Based on the guidelines that the city is going to lay out, right? Because the city is going to have their own guidelines in regards to how much space is required and so on and so forth. But so Andrea is going to say, how many homes can I fit here? And the only way to do that is to go up, right? It's not to kind of go wide, right? You want to literally go upwards, right? In regards to that. So you're absolutely right. Things have changed.
Otherwise you got to go to Sheldon.
Yes.
There you go.
Further, because I'll tell you, my backyard is not that big. Even out here, my backyard is not that big. So yeah. But if you go even further out, you can find tiny little houses on huge lots. And I would say I would buy that any day. I love land space. And I think you can always renovate that house and put a bigger house on a larger lot, but you can't do anything with a smaller lot. You just got to live with it.
Yeah. All right, man. So I want to thank you all for coming out. There's this last piece. Speaking of Shelburne, so Nikki's husband told me when they were moving out there, yo, Jada, come on, Shel, yo, we are move, yo, move. So I'm like, yo, what? Where's that? And he was just like, yo, so come, yo, I'm telling the man, yeah. So, so they were ahead of their time, and each move that they moved, he was pivotal in trying to get guys to come up to join and hey, let's make a move. And I was just like, yo, I was kind of there, but not all the way there. Now I'm all the way there. All right, so I'm gonna let you all know, don't watch the distance. Urban sprawl is happening. It's like unaffordable for an average person or average couple to to purchase a home here and comfortably pay the mortgage. And I say comfortably, meaning you could go out to a dinner afterwards or go to a movie. You're done. Some people are working overtime just to pay the property tax. There's bills upon bills. When you home ownership, it's another beast. So you gotta really look into it. But I want to thank you all for tapping in, coming on. I want you to just as a signing out piece, let people know what you got going on and where and how they can find you.
You can take it from here, Sheldon.
Oh, well, I mean, you can go to andersonandchristian.com. We're, on the web. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. Yeah, we're cool. So we're everywhere. Where people are. So yeah.
And the one thing I'd like to say is about Sheldon and I, if you're not ready to buy and you just have questions, you just want to know how something works, we are easy like Sunday morning. So you can call us, you can ask us any question you like, and trust that we are not going to be pressuring you to do something. We want you to love working with us and to be comfortable with us. So hit us up just to ask any questions. And then when you're ready to go, we're ready to go.
All right. Well, thank you again. We want to thank you guys for joining us today. We were blessed to have you guys on the show, providing all this great information. Again, viewers, we're going to post the links in the comments. Also, make sure you're paying attention to the Instagram page, because we're going to be posting clips and contact information for all the guests. Nicole and Sheldon, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from the Vupointz family, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to help us provide knowledge to the masses. Again,
thank you for having us.
No problem. Again, people, we were just talking with Nicole and Sheldon of Anderson and Christian Realty. If you're looking to get into home ownership on any level, or if you're looking for some information, I don't know if the information is free, but you can contact them and you can make those steps. So again, Nicole and Sheldon, thank you for taking the time to join us for the Vupointz show. And again, blessings every time.
Thank you.
Yes, I like that.
That was
insightful.
That was a great show, man. They provided so much great information, man. A lot of things I didn't even know about with like financing and land and things like that. So I don't know. I might have to.
I didn't know all of that. I had no idea. I don't know any.
Like we might have to buy like a Vupointz house next.
Yeah, I don't know not one thing about real estate. I just know right now I'm just saving to buy to make a down payment. That's all. I'm just working and saving so I can buy a house. But I just look at it like I'm single, right? So it's one of those things where it's like I don't have a chick nor a child, and I'm very family. I know, but I'm very family orientated, and I don't know if I want to live in Canada or if I want to live in America. So right now it's one of those decisions that I have to like sit down and think and look at both, I guess, both ends of the spectrum, which one would be better off for me and stuff like that. Because to be honest, I don't see myself like staying in Toronto in Canada. I want to flourish and do everything. So I right now the market's good, all right here, but I think
the vibe is better everywhere else.
Yeah, you feel me? So I might be taking my, but it's good for me to have knowledge. So when I go out there, I don't get tricked by anybody or any.
Yeah. Well, at least we got some people. At least we got a couple people we know we could refer to when we're ready, right? So
hopefully they know about that side over there. But
the key is just putting a plan together. You know what I mean? But you know what? Let's do what we do, Wiggs. Let's do what we do.
I think it's time for them talks, family.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Real Talk segment with Jada Man. The question that came up it's not even a question, it's a statement, more or less. Why you should buy houses and land instead of cars and jewelry. All right. So cars depreciate, right? They look fat. They're great. They get you from point A to point B. It's necessary, therefore, a lot of times it's mandatory, right? Depending on your lifestyle, depending on what you need to do. Jewelry, similar thing. Some types of jewelry hold their value, right? Depending on the mix, the compound, right? And some depreciate, right? But when you transfer it over and you look at land, houses, land, right? A house is on a land, property is on a land. So let's talk land. All right. So when we're talking about land, there's only so much land. They're not building anymore. The earth is what it is. All right. And as you know, more people are being birthed every day. The property value will go up because there's a demand for it. All right. Vehicles depreciate. As soon as you take it off of the lot, there's some reports that say anywhere from 20 to 25%. So if I buy a car right now, a Porsche right now, and I drive it off the lot and decide, hold on a second, I don't really want this car and bring it back, they'll take off 20% and say, I'll take it back, but I'll give you this because they can only sell it for an X amount of dollars because it actually had an owner. You get what I'm saying? And then with jewelry, it's touchy. It's touchy with jewelry, as I said, with the mix and with the type of jewelry, and just depending on where the world is, it's a gamble. It's safer than vehicles if you're buying solid gold and diamonds and stuff like that, but it's still a gamble. So we want to direct everybody from our community, all the audience members, all the listeners. We want to direct you straight over to purchasing land, houses, real estate. All right, that's where you need to go. As mentioned, group, get a group together. If you don't have the funds, tap into other resources. That could be a starter for you. If you do have the funds and you don't have the credit, the group piece works as well. Go further if everything is ready to go. You can go further. You could purchase something for less, something that you could afford. All right. Outside of affordability, right? If you wanna actually just do an investment piece and not actually live in it, pre-construction is also a good way to source your funds. All right. So why you should buy houses and land as opposed to jewelry and cars is because houses and land appreciate at a far greater rate than any vehicle, whether it's a classic vehicle and any jewelry. And it's something that you could pass down and you could do more with it. All right. So always remember that and always keep that at the template of your mind. And that's Real Talk with Jada, man.
Yes. Can't hear you.
Wiggs, we can't hear you, brother.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
How a sound? How a sound?
You sound good.
And that's
Unless
the
you
show,
out here
folks.
buying a Birkin.
Do
Sorry, I had
remember
to
to
let it
like
there.
and subscribe at Viewpoints on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram. Do remember to tune in next week. We got a great show lined up. Follow us on our social media networks at Viewpoints, at Brooklyn Honey 23, at Jadaman, at Jawigs. We are here. It's the Viewpoints.
And
You
it's my
don't
birthday
know.
next week, y'all. It's my birthday.
It's Brooklyn's birthday next week,
And
y'all.
happy
Yes.
Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to everybody coming up.
Oh,
Happy
yes.
Mother's
Happy
Day to the
Mother's Day to
mothers.
everyone.
Brooklyn, we're gonna do something for your birthday. I'm gonna bring a gift for you. I'm gonna bring a gift for Brooklyn next week on the Viewpoint. All right.
Wait,
gotta tune in
gentlemen,
to see
Mr.
what
Cheap Man over there, so make sure send me get me gift.
y'all gotta tune in to see what the special gift is. It's the Viewpoints.
And
Tune
we out.
in. We out.
Period. Period.